couple of weeks, starting with the MUA, then we parlayed that into, well, starting with the ETU actually, then the MUA, then the nurses, and then the RTBU, and now again it's the RTBU today. The fact is, as was outlined by the honourable member before, they had a deunionising agenda when they were in government, led by Constance and Co. And the leader of the opposition comes here on a daily basis pursuing the same agenda, despite having lost an election on the basis that the unions advocated us to pay frontline workers an adequate wage and actually talk to them. And I've got to tell you, Madam Deputy President, I know who I'd trust when it comes to safety and building things properly. This is the mob that gave us the notorious new inner city fleet. Remember the things that didn't fit train tracks and were too long for tunnels? Remember that? Cost blowouts into the billions and billions of dollars. Remember, as a result of not talking to the RTBU, as a result of not talking to the subject matter experts, and remember the ferries that wouldn't fit under bridges, duck, asbestos riddled. Why? Because you didn't talk to the MUA. And coming from a trade background in the electrical industry where we actually had employers who wanted to speak to the unions because they wanted all the problems solved up front, I can very well appreciate that these are genuine things where if you sit down and actually, heaven forbid, talk to the people that live and breathe it and work on it every day, you actually come up with solutions to avoid the problems. Now, the fact is that these are not drivers, they're ancillary staff and customer service staff. In fact, they're going to be there to help people who have got disabilities on the trains to help them on and off. Safety incidents. There is nothing wrong with driverless trains in principle, but we can't have no people on these trains to help with incidences when they occur. And the unions made a very, very reasonable request, which the government sat down and agreed with because it makes sense. And again, you wouldn't trust this mob because their way of consulting is to order them off the shelf from overseas, hope for the best, don't talk to the union, and hope that everyone leaves the union. That's basically their policy. It didn't work when they were in government. It's not working when they're in opposition. And I suggest that they drop it if they ever want to get into government within the next millennium.